It's not commonplace enough to use it now. It's somewhere down the road, but once it comes into
it will
wider
happen
application,
in the next 5 or 10 years,
once,
no question.
Once it comes into wider application, we'll be ready to use it. But we'll be able to use it from day one because we can fuel with natural gas, we can fuel with a hydrogen and natural gas mix, and eventually when all hydrogen vehicles become commonplace, we'll be ready.
Well, T. Boone Pickens ran all those ads during the last political cycle and talked about natural gas as being one of those interim fuels before hydrogen. And of course, it burns a lot cleaner than diesel or regular gasoline. So it's good for the environment as well.
Absolutely. When we did the announcement the other day, GM was there, the representatives of the General Motors Company were there with a 100% hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. And the fellow from GM, when I said to him, how much does that cost? And he said it was about $1 million.
Did it actually operate? Or
no, Supervisor Murray drove it, and I drove in it with her. She drove it. I was in the passenger seat.
What was the experience?
It felt just like a regular car. You would not know you were not in a, it was just quieter. It was quieter.
Quiet like an electric car, like you when you're driving one of those Priuses?
But in terms of the ride, the feel, and again, I didn't drive it, the supervisor drove it, but she told me that just the feel of driving it, stepping on the accelerator, it felt like you were just in a regular vehicle.
And how great will that be when fuel costs are virtually nil, which is what will happen with hydrogen? I mean, just they'll have the...
It'll be fabulous.
It'll be fabulous, and we won't be sending billions and billions of our dollars to people who sometimes want to harm us.
And it's great that the town is on the cutting edge of it. And again, the grants we've gotten from New York State and from National Grid, the town is doing it, and we're doing it in a way that's very friendly to our taxpayers.
But one of the other things you've done is that you've also expanded your fleet of natural gas vehicles. So this fits in perfectly with what's happening right now.
Right, and we are actually going to retrofit one of our natural gas buses that we have that will take this hydrogen natural gas mix. So we'll actually be using hydrogen right away. It's just we don't have the capacity to do straight hydrogen at the moment, but the hydrogen natural gas mix we will be using by the end of this year.
Okay, we have to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the hub at Nassau, where the Islanders are located.
Yep, absolutely.
What's happening with that project. So when we come back, we're going to finish our conversation with Town of Hempstead Councilman Anthony Santino. Don't go away.
Few of us are aware of a disturbing truth. Our homes are not free from brutality. 1 in 4 women are victims of abuse. For 20 years, the Retreat has been the only domestic violence agency serving the East End. We operate a shelter, offer legal advocacy, a 24-hour hotline, and counseling. Our services are free and confidential. Help support the Retreat. Every dollar raised helps a family affected by violence.
3 decades, thousands of volunteers, 300,000 houses, 1.5 million people in simple, decent homes. The numbers begin to add up, but the most important number is 1. 1 volunteer, 1 home, 1 family. Won't you join us? Support the work of Habitat for Humanity in your hometown or wherever your heart leads you. Volunteer, get involved, and help build it.
Back to Cablevision's Meet the Leaders. In our studio is Town of Hempstead Councilman Anthony Santino. Councilman, we've been talking about ways to improve the economy, what the effect of the deep recession has had on Hempstead and the rest of the island. But one of the great opportunities that's out there for really getting a large amount of investment, creating jobs, and expanding the tax base is the redevelopment of the Nassau County Hub. It's known as the Lighthouse Project.
Right.
What is the status of that project?
Well, actually, at the next town board meeting, the town board is going to consider and will likely approve what's called the scoping document, which is the first major environmental hurdle that we have to get to in order to move the project forward. And that will then send the project off to the State Department of Transportation, the State DEC, for their comments. Pat, it's a massive project that's going to have an impact on the town of Hempstead and on Nassau County for the next 20 or 30 years.
Well, it is a big project,
right.
And that's both a challenge and an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because it's one of the few opportunities that we have to develop something on scale. Typically, Long Island, we chop everything up into
right.
a lot of little pieces. But it's got different components. You've got the Coliseum, you've got Hotel Convention Center, you've got a residential component,
right.
you have restaurants and all kinds of other amenities
office
that will
space,
draw people there.
Theaters.
And office space.
Right.
What is your sense of the vision that the developer has laid out there? And
well, I think it is a phenomenal project. I think it is a great opportunity, as you said, a great opportunity and a great challenge. I think they've put forward a plan, and I'm now just painting broad strokes because obviously we have to get into the meat, into the sinew of it, and go through all of the details of it as we go forward. But the project obviously is something that is going to have a transformative effect on the town of Hempstead and on Nassau County, something that, as I said, will impact generations to come. It's a project that will create great opportunity, that will be something, it'll be a destination where people, it'll be the downtown for Nassau County where people can go, and whether it's live theater, whether it's movies, whether it's restaurants, retail shopping, it will be the place to go in Nassau County. And it's something that is very, very exciting.
So you talked about kind of the state of the review now with
right.
the scoping document,
right.
and explain what's involved in a scoping document, and then what comes after that.
Well, it is again the first major environmental hurdle that we have to get over. There are a lot of environmental issues that have to address that the developer is addressing in this document, which we are going to be asked to adopt at the next meeting. It then goes for the state DOT, Transportation, and DEC for their input, because again, this is going to have, traffic is going to be one of the major concerns of this project, because Hempstead-Turpich, as it is now, is trying to go past there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon
right.
is a daunting challenge. So obviously the transportation aspect of it is something that I'm very concerned with, and we have to address it.
After the scoping document is approved, the developer will come in and take the outline of that creation's parameters and prepare an environmental impact statement.
Correct.
As you know, these kinds of things can drag on forever.
Right.
If you want to have the various reviews done in concert, it can be sped up. Is there a timeline that you have in your mind for this project to go through all of the appropriate reviews and ultimately a decision made by the town board?
Pat, I don't think it's wise to put an artificial timeline down. I want to reiterate, this is something that will have an impact on people who live in the town of Hempstead in 2010, 2020, 2030. We have to not drag our feet. We have to do it as quickly as prudence will allow, but we have to do a thorough job of it. There's just too much at stake.
Are you satisfied that the town has the wherewithal, the resources, and the focus to do what you're responsible for, which is to do a thorough and complete review of this?
Oh, absolutely.
To provide feedback and comments to the development team so they can respond to those, to keep this process moving along?
We absolutely have the focus. We absolutely have the resources. It's not quite in this scale, but I was around for the redevelopment of Roosevelt Raceway. That was a major undertaking that involve very, very similar issues, because that site now, which once was the Roosevelt Raceway, is retail, is housing, is restaurant usage, entertainment usage. So we've got some very good people. We've got some good consultants looking at this, and we will do the right thing. We will do it in an expeditious manner, but one that doesn't short-circuit a process that is just so important.
You know, are you concerned about the Islanders leaving? Possibly, if this doesn't happen in some time?
The Islanders are a critical part of Nassau County, and that their home is in the town of Hempstead, and